be here today and for your past support. It is so nice to see so many friendly faces and so many familiar faces, people who have been involved with ABC in ways large and small, from host families, as I'm just discovering here, and resident tutors and past supporters, both in and outside of the Rotary Club. So thank you so much. Despite being here in New Canaan since 1974, so many people really don't know about our program or our remarkable scholars or the role that the New Canaan community plays in our ABC family, because that is really what we are. We are a family, a loving, extended family. 51 years ago, Bruce Shindler, who was a young associate minister at the Congregational Church of New Canaan, proposed a mission project to provide educational opportunities for gifted students of color who wanted to attend college. And while some of the church members were initially in favor of this, many were not. But luckily for Bruce, at a meeting, perhaps similar to one like this, one of the church elders stood up, resting on her cane, and said, "I know there's some hesitations in town about this project, but this church has been doing the right thing for over 230 years. Why are we hesitating?" And shortly thereafter, the entire congregation rallied around the mission program, and then with conviction, pluck, and a little bit of luck, Bruce and the mission committee galvanized all of the churches and the key community members and community leaders to bring a program called A Better Chance to New Canaan. Bruce purchased a large, centrally located home on 64 Locust Avenue for $65,000. I know, right? It's quite amazing, real estate back then. And then in August of that year, as the paint dried and the sheetrock was still being put up, 8 brave young men from as far south as Virginia and north as Massachusetts made their way into our house, becoming our first 8 scholars. And the rest, as they say, is history. At ABC New Canaan, we change lives, pure and simple. Our mission is to provide transformative academic opportunities to talented young students of color, to support them in becoming confident, well-rounded leaders, and to prepare them for success in college and in life. That's just some of our pictures from our history, which is pretty amazing. The same steps, same everything. The history in this town runs so deep, and it's something that we are so proud of.
Could you hold that one?
Oh, sorry, yep.
There's a good chance that this is my wife, Wendy, because she was a resident advisor in 1978.
That's
Starting the summer of 78.
I'll send you the photo. That's, right, this is what I mean, in the community. We are so deeply embedded in this community and the community with us. It's really inspiring every day. For 50 years, our program has welcomed scholars, which is what we call the young men who come to us, into the community where they attend our nationally ranked high school and realize their academic potential. They participate in all of the athletic, artistic, and volunteer extracurricular activities that New Canaan and the surrounding communities has to offer. They live together family style at our ABC House under the care of our incredible resident director. And they become part of a local host family and have a home away from home during their 4 years in high school and beyond. ABC is an affiliate of A Better Chance National, which is the oldest and preeminent resource for recruiting and placing talented students of color in over 250 prestigious private, boarding, and public schools in the United States. We are one of just 18, actually now 17, public school programs within the ABC umbrella. And we're chosen for our high-performing high schools and our strong community resources. And I like to say that we combine the best of both, like a boarding school and a day school, all within the loving embrace of ABC House and the ABC family. There are other, just for reference, Darien has an ABC program, it's for girls. Westport has a program for boys, Richfield is girls, and Wilton is girls. So a lot of these other community school programs are where you would find, top boarding schools or along the East Coast corridor. Becoming an ABC Scholar is a rigorous 18-month process. Students need to be at the top of their class, eager to learn, well-rounded, with letters of recommendation, and we welcome scholars as freshmen, typically 2 per year. We accept students from Massachusetts all the way down to DC with family incomes of less than $150,000, and that is usually for a family or five or more in the New York City metro area. However, most of the scholars that we accept have family incomes far, far less than that. I have been involved in the recruiting process now for 3 years, and I can tell you firsthand what an intensive and thorough process it is. And I have been moved to tears during all of my recruiting endeavors for talking with parents and caregivers who are just really so desperate to give their children, to give their sons a better chance, to give them a promising future. And just think for a second about how brave it is for a 12, 13, or perhaps even a 14-year-old to leave their families, leave their communities, leave everything they know, and come to a town without knowing a soul, knowing that they're going to be one of a handful of students of color at the high school, and feeling that pressure to succeed. Our goal and our responsibility, and it is a huge responsibility, is to facilitate that success, and to give them every resource and every opportunity to reach their greatest potential. So I just wanted to introduce you to our scholars. I just literally made the boys pose for those pictures on Saturday. Justin Bruno, they hate me on those Saturdays. I just have to, I'm like, just please give me an hour. Justin Bruno is our freshman. He is from the Bronx. Dariel Ortiz is a junior. Chris is a junior. Keon, that we were just talking about earlier, is a senior. Malachi, our other Slav volunteer, is a sophomore. Janfer is a senior. Emmanuel is new to us. He comes from New Hope, Pennsylvania as a freshman. And Henderson is from the Bronx, and he is a junior as well. And I mean, those faces, they inspire me to come to work every single day and to do good every single day to try and help them succeed. As I was saying, to help them succeed, we cover all costs for our scholars for their 4 years in the program. We cover everything. I mean everything, from SAT prep to sneakers, and everything in between. And you could just see on this list, and I'm happy to read this, it's too far away, but all meals and housing, snacks. And let me tell you, 8 boys eat like no one's business. It is, despite a well-utilized Costco membership, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. And weekly allowances, so the boys can participate in activities as their New Canaan High School counterparts, and buy extra toiletries, although we tend to buy toiletries, uniforms, extra clothing, after school and community activities, ranging things big and small, the mission trips, getting all the materials that they need for mission trips, going on field trips. Our boys went to Nashville last year. The school paid for half, we paid for the other half. Anytime, any activity that they want to learn, we will pay for. Weekend activities, summer enrichment programs, academic tutors, social emotional support, driver's ed, even transportation home for holidays and school breaks. And we recently created a $10,000 college scholarship program to give each graduating scholar $2,500 a year for 4 years. And really, I would say that with the widening of opportunity gaps, with failing public schools, and with the growing inequality in this country, our work has never been more important than it is today. Our scholars make academic success their primary goal and are expected to have a rigorous course load, making honors and high honors every quarter. We have a resident tutor. In fact, we have a former resident tutor sitting right here, and who hopefully can attest to the rigors of study hall, mandatory study hall every night. And we bring in private subject tutors as needed as well. And our scholars' accomplishments outside of the classroom are so impressive. These boys are so busy, from musical theater to captains, of wrestling and of football, to volunteer leaders, to everything, in between. Church, being active in their church. They are such busy boys, and of course, they are all members of SLOBs. They're also all members of the RAM Council, and they volunteer throughout town, including speaking at the Interfaith Church Council's Martin Luther King service every year. And over the summer, we offer the boys extra opportunities to enhance their studies or attend a pre-college program. One of our most recent our senior scholar just came back from 3 weeks in Italy. He applied and earned a scholarship for a program, and we helped subsidize the rest of it. But it was a once-in-a-lifetime learning experience that he was really eager about, and we were happy to support him. As our boys enter their junior year, they receive intensive college access services, and we work with their families step by step to help them through this process. For most of our scholars, they are the first in their family to go to college, or the first to go to college in this country, and making them a little unfamiliar. Yes?
Just wondered, do you coordinate it all with Future 5? Is there any?
So, other than my deep love for Polly, it's funny a little bit. Polly's great. She's on our advisory committee. I would think we're going to get the kids together at some point, just to get to know each other and share resources. That's another perfect example of the New Canaan community rallying together. And we help take our college boys on college tours as well, because their families can't afford to do that. And the competition to get into college, as I'm sure you know, is so hard. It's so hard, and our young men face the equally fierce competition of scholarships and financial aid. And that was really why we launched that college scholarship program, was to help bridge those gaps and to help avoiding for our scholars having to transfer from college after their first year, when a lot of their aid packages run out. The town of New Canaan is very, very generous toward to students, but unfortunately our scholars can only apply for funding for that first year when they have a residence at ABC House. So a lot of our boys lose funding after their first year and have had to transfer, and we really are trying to make that so that's not something that they have to do. Since our founding in 1974, 93 scholars have successfully graduated high school and gone to college at top universities, as you can see here. Many of them have advanced degrees. They are leaders and in their respective fields. And among our alumni, we have CEOs and scientists and nonprofit leaders, an Emmy Award-winning journalist, and a celebrated Broadway actor. And we are so proud of them and their accomplishments. This was from our 50th anniversary, and we had so many of our scholars and our host families come back, and we honored the original 8 scholars, 6 of the original 8 scholars, and our founder. It was an incredible event. We had 600 people at it, and this picture just warms my heart every time I see that. So many of our alumni are actively involved in our organization, and they're brothers for life. They are living and breathing testimonials of how impactful our program is. They are a testament to the transformative power of education and the generational impact of our program, which I cannot underscore enough. I love this quote. This is from Terry Trusty. He was one of our first 8 scholars who went on to Harvard University. And this is with him and his children and his grandchildren. And it says, "I'm forever grateful for the legacy inspired by the good will of the people of New Canaan and ABC. My wife and I are proud parents of 7 children who are now the next generation of beneficiaries. ABC New Canaan's value and commitment to educational excellence are manifest in them." And I will tell you, His kids and grandkids have gone to every Ivy League school you can imagine, gone and done a diverse, professional fields, successful, wonderful. They are philanthropic. I couldn't have written that quote better, but he wrote it himself, and he came to the event with his kids and some of his grandkids. These are just some pictures, just of ABC over the years. Central to being a family, which is what we call our ABC family, is the home that you share. And this is just more recent, but all of you, I'm sure, have driven past this on 64 Locust Avenue. And our ABC House is really such a warm and loving place for our scholars to live, for them to relax, for them to study, eat dinner every night together. With Kanisha, who is our resident director, she serves as their legal guardian, their surrogate mom, their advocate disciplinarian, her supporter. She's amazing. She also sings at the MLK service and is actively involved in the Congregational Church. She's working towards her PhD in educational leadership and is currently the on-track coordinator at West Hill High School. To show you sort of what kind of so much of a family that we are. When she got married a year ago, she got married at Waveney with Chapin from the Congregational Church, who married her. I was her matron of honor, and the boys walked her down the aisle. I joke that her poor fiance had to win over, not just the father, but 8 very judgmental teenagers. But he succeeded, and it's lovely. I mean, really, I don't make this up. We are a big dorky family, and we have a wonderful cook, Margot, who cooks dinner for the boys Monday through Thursdays, and we have a resident tutor who lives in our garage apartment, rounding up our staff. I am the organization, said before, the first executive director, and it was run purely by volunteers and host families, often doing double duties as host family, volunteer, and leading college advising, doing the fundraising. And I work out of ABC House. I've planted myself right in the middle of the boys' study area, and so I get to see the boys every day when they walk in the door. And they think I'm cool and they hug me, which is great because my son does not. And I get to eat like a teenage boy, which is also spectacular. And I'll just say, when I started this job, I knew that I was gonna love it, but I didn't know that my heart was gonna be so full every day when I go to work. And this is just some pictures of ABC. But it's a house. I think when people walk in, they're like, oh, right, kids, they live here. The love that the boys feel with us is felt equally with their host families. Our host family program speaks volumes about our community, about just the generous hearts that people in our community have. Each scholar is paired with a local host family for 4 years. These are the most wonderful families who open their hearts and their homes to the scholars, who spend every Sunday afternoon and night with their host families and 1 full weekend a month. But I can tell you the relationships run so deep, so much deeper than that. We have alumni who graduated 20 years ago who still come and hang out with their host families. And I think that's part of what makes our program so special. We have the most robust host family program of any ABC program in the country. We are so fortunate that since our founding, the town of New Canaan has wholeheartedly embraced our mission, championed our scholars. We receive no funding from the government, no funding from United Way, no funding from ABC National. We can't even fundraise in surrounding towns where there is a local ABC, so no Westport, no Darien, nothing. Our program is funded 100% from the residents in this community, from the Board of Ed, from foundations, from charitable organizations like the Rotary Club. And in addition to just getting funding, we get free home repairs, furniture donations, music lessons, dental visits. I mean, our boys have lost so many pairs of glasses. I could have bought Rick Krolla a second house or something. And never charged. The expression that it takes a village to raise a child really rings true for this organization. And we could not continue really without the support of our residents. I have, let me see what I have. Just some more pictures here, just host families. You know, I've lived in New Canaan for 22 years, and I've always loved living here, and I've always known how wonderful our community was. But it really wasn't until I started working at ABC that I just was blown away by this community. I like to say that ABC brings out the best in our community, and our gratitude is really endless for that. And I would say that our program and our scholars, I hope, give back to the community in equal measure. These young men are such bright lights in our town. They bring their energy and their commitment, their enthusiasm to everything that they do. They touch the lives and inspire, you know, everyone that they meet. They aim for the stars, and their contributions on the field and in the classroom and in town are significant and really impactful. Here's just another photo of our guys most recently. Again, I drove them crazy. Someone took us sailing just the other day on a boat out of the blue, called up and said, would you like to come? We have this opportunity. Just the kindness of this community is just, it's amazing. You know, while so much has changed over the 51 years since those 8 young men walked into ABC House, so much really remains the same. The foundation of love and family and community continues to define the ABC experience. Our scholars continue to shine as examples of what can be accomplished through compassion and a shared commitment to education, equity, and opportunity. And we are just so excited about what the future brings in store for these young men. I just want to say, before I wrap up, thank you so much to everyone at the Rotary Club, and to many of you also individually who I've had the opportunity to work with. And now that I see your names, I'm like, oh right, you've been an amazing supporter of ours. You know, your support and generosity has provided social engagement pathways and life-changing opportunities for our scholars. And I just can't thank you enough for having me to speak here. So thank you.
Any questions? Yeah, better question.
Okay.
Right.
What role do the parents play in your program?
The scholars' parents?
Yes.
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that. I was just chatting with one of the parents who came up to drop off something for her son. We want to engage the parents as much as possible. You know, it is their child that we want parents to be involved. Tanisha, I joke that I don't know how she has time for her day job because she's continually checking in with parents about X, Y, and Z. We encourage our host families and the scholars families, they've already met, but to have their own relationships. We want as much engagement and as possible with them. So I was just texting with the seniors parents. I'm like, have you guys done that questionnaire for school that you need to pass? So we're all very friendly.
Do the parents have a regular time to be with their kid?
So the boys go home on 3-day weekends, school holidays, and of course over the summer, parents who are local are always invited to be a part, go to a game or a performance and come over to the house. We have open houses and holiday parties with the parents. Parents are involved when we do our recruiting, and we have an open house and they spend a day touring New Canaan High School. The parents are involved. We meet with them separately away from the boys so they can ask, the mom, like we're all parents, right? They want to know, like, is my child going to be safe? I mean, am I going to be a part of this process? And I think for parents, the reason they would choose us versus a boarding school is because they have that relationship, because they have that opportunity to really be involved with them. Our college advisor who we work with meets with the scholars' parents as well. So really, we try and make everything as inclusive as possible. And we've been very, very fortunate, at least during my tenure here, that our scholars' parents and caregivers are very engaged in their sons' lives.
Besides a check, what are some of the things that the community could also would be most beneficial for us to hopefully contribute?
So let's see, for example, like New Canaan Charity League provides sweets every Monday without fail. I sample on the taste tester. And literally, it's amazing that is booked up through March. Everyone is signed up. Occasionally we have cleaning up the property, fall and spring, clean up like that. We're a little harder of an organization because we're protective of the young men, so it's not a lot of, direct, contact sometimes. People have donated, we've done drives for, it sounds silly, but like cold medicines and, going to the drugstore. When one boy gets sick, it brings down, knocks us all down. So, drives like that. And, occasionally we'll have an opportunity to do like a housewide project. Tutoring, if people have specific, if there is a chemist in here or someone who's amazing at AP Physics, don't be shy. Tutors. And honestly, I go on Facebook, like New Canaan Moms, and I'll put in a request for something and I'll get 100 replies in minutes. It's amazing. It really is. So sort of services like that. This woman who offered up her boat. I mean, she was like, maybe your boys would like to go on a beautiful day, and they were thrilled, and they had never been on a boat before. So we, things big and small. I'm sorry, that was a non-answer.
When we had a house full and were involved at the high school, I remember going to events or hosting things and there was leftover food and I could call up. Do you guys still do that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, Scott's wife Kim has dropped off food the last time when she was at the Community Foundation. I love it. Again, I'm always there. Call first. Yes. No, absolutely. It's great. We get that all the time from luncheons and leftovers, and we're thrilled. Again, these boys eat 12 meals a day. I've never seen anything like it. It's just like cranking out like lasagnas and stuff for them.
Can you explain a little bit about the application process? Do they apply to the national organization, and then how do they get?
Great question. There are two ways that a scholar can apply. They can apply to us directly. We do our own recruiting and have relationships with certain guidance counselors. I mean, from one school, for example, we've had 4 scholars from one school. The guidance counselor loves us. She'll send some, talented young men to us, directly, and we have our own application process. Otherwise, you're right. They apply to ABC National. Once they're accepted by ABC National, then they're open to apply to any of the schools within the ABC National umbrella. Then, if they've indicated they're interested in us, ABC National will send us their application. We review it and see if we feel that they would be a good match in our program, and then do that interview process. For these young men, navigating that process is 1,000 times harder than getting into college. It's so, even with our process, and we try and make it as friendly as possible, it's multiple Zoom interviews and then in-person interviews, and then, we want them to spend the day with us, sometimes spend the night with us, just so that they get a feel, for the town.
Do they apply to multiple locations?
Yes. So I would say that, our biggest, we compete, I would say, primarily with Westport, although since our schools are much better, it's less of a competition now, and also boarding schools. So very rarely would someone who is going to like a private day school also be looking at us. And in the past, we're thrilled. We've had kids who've decided to come to us versus, say, Stuyvesant or Brown Science or Middlesex boarding school. Even someone who was going to Andover chose us over them because I think of that small family environment and the intense attention that we feel.
What's the acceptance rate?
It depends. Well, we can only take two kids. So I would say, let's say we get 5 applications a year. We'll take 2 per year. Yeah, but it is. Anyway, so thank you very much.